I serve on the tribal council of the Hassanisco Nipmuc Band. I have also, for a number of decades, served as the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer, the THPO, and the NAGPRA representative, so supporting the tribe's work with the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. So being part of this community and what community in general means for me in terms of being a tribal member, I will say it means supporting each other and very importantly, doing it with care and kindness, right? When you think about a community, you don't think about people tearing each other down or speaking to each other's weaknesses. You think about what each person can bring, to the group or the whole. Just unfolded. Like if you would have told me at that time when I was 29 that 30 years down the road, I would be embroiled, in leadership and that I would have a PhD focused on, the history and meaning of Hassanamisco and the reservation and the people very connected to the preservation of that place. I never would have envisioned that. And it's funny how life unfolds like that. And deciding to take that part-time research assistant position at 29 turned into a lifetime commitment of supporting the Hassanisco band, being a part of leadership, and really just what I call doing the good work. So again, I can't underscore enough that being in community is thinking beyond ourselves about what is in the best interest, both of and in support of the whole, the tribe, and thinking about, most importantly, future generations. So for me, Nipmuc values and practicing Nipmuc values really means following and practicing what I just outlined in terms of being in community, thinking about past, preservation for future generations. It also means giving a lot of time. So kind of reflecting on, what previous leaders have done, right? What was important to them. And I can tell you through the archive that I have poured through over the years that it was always about the preservation of the land. Like if you have a land base, even though ours is small and it's only 3.5 acres, the reservation that's in Grafton, Massachusetts, preservation of that land base, which kind of was the theory and the response of all of my research for my PhD dissertation, is that because we preserved that small piece of land, we were able to continue as some type of an entity, what we would, in this day and age call a band or a tribe. So the values are really about thinking what's important, what are the baseline important things, and then you can build on that. So it gets nuanced as you build, but having that baseline of a land base, a place to go, kind of like what I call the touchstone, right? We have this place where we can go, whether it's once a year, whether it's once a lifetime, knowing it's there, knowing that we have this piece that has, never changed hands, that has no deed, that was allotted to Moses Printer in 1727 and has, morphed into this parcel known as an Indian reservation is critical and important. So it's not really a hierarchical system, but we do have a leadership structure where we have a system of a chief. In this case, it's a sun squaw, a female chief, which has been really historically a lot of, or very much, the way our government has been structured over time, at least in the time that's documented that I'm aware of. And then we have sub chiefs, and then we have the tribal council. So the chief has been based at Hassanamisco, again, at this 3.5 acre reservation, the Hassanamisco Reservation in Grafton, for as long as I've known. It's been a lineage of leadership that has derived from an effort to preserve that land base. And that is really, really clear, and something that I think the documentation clearly supports. And the council works very, very closely with the Elders Council, and we each have our responsibilities. The Elders Council, one of the responsibilities that they have is the undertaking of the annual fair or powwow, but then people on the council help. So I'm helping, for example, with the vendors and onboarding someone else who you can learn about, how to work with the vendors and that very important aspect of the powwow. We have a monthly meeting that generally, as I have stated, it's on a Saturday. It's set to be about an hour and a half long. Sometimes it runs over. We also have quarterly meetings where there are open agendas, where we encourage tribal members to bring forth topics or issues or questions that they have. They actually draft the agenda, and we have an open meeting. We answer questions. We're there more as resources, and they can talk about whatever topics are of interest to them. Hopefully much the same in some ways, that we're still humble people, that we're still thinking about our commitment to our values and to our people and to future generations, but also having larger land bases. So beyond the 3.5 acres, the Hassamusco Reservation in Grafton, Massachusetts, we are working on the acquisition of other land bases that would be under stewardship of our leadership. We think of stewardship as opposed to ownership, because they would be for access and use by all tribal people, as opposed to like one or two individuals. Having more land would provide more sustainability on a number of levels. So some examples are growing our own food, thinking about housing needs of tribal people. So how can we sustain people and kind of meet sometimes just basic needs of our tribal membership? So I think that would be really important. I would also really love to see in the coming years more formalized programs and mentorship of our youth. Our youth are our future. It doesn't matter what culture you're in, youth are always our future. So we need to support them, we need to engage with them, and we need to instill the values that I've been talking about, and give them, our story, our history, make sure that they're informed and that they care.